Trust is one of the hardest things to do in a relationship, especially a relationship with God. In yesterday's gospel, Jesus tells us we're not supposed to worry about tomorrow, and that God knows what we need before we even ask for it. So we should trust Him wholeheartedly. Like Job in the first reading, in the midst of the darkest suffering that I endured, it was a constant struggle to keep trusting God. At the same time, He was the only one who could help me. Job is a righteous man, yet loses his wife, children, and possessions and begins to have health problems. To paraphrase Job's question, he asks God what we often have asked Him in the midst of our own suffering: why me, Lord? Listen to part of God's answer in today's reading. The Lord addressed Job out of the storm and said, "Who shut within doors the sea when it burst forth from the womb? When I made the clouds its garment and thick darkness its swaddling bands? When I set limits for it and fastened the bar of its door and said, Thus far shall you come, but no farther. And here shall your proud waves be stilled." In other words, God's wisdom is beyond our comprehension, and we have a natural curiosity about Him like we do about anyone we're having a relationship with right now. We want to get to know them better and on a deeper level. As I read a few verses from today's psalm, think about how God rescued you during a dark time in your life. They cried to the Lord in their distress. From their straits He rescued them. He hushed the storm to a gentle breeze, and the billows of the sea were stilled. Give thanks to the Lord. His love is everlasting. In today's second reading, Paul tells us that God has transformed us and made us a new creation. To me, at first it was like falling in love, and the world and everyone, it was perfect and beautiful. When reality sets in, we realize that we're in this relationship with God for the long haul. We need to do our part, like in any other relationship. And that is working on the two greatest commandments: loving God with our whole heart, whole soul, our whole mind, and loving each other as we love ourselves. Listen to the end of today's second reading. Consequently, from now on, we regard no one according to the flesh, even if we once knew Christ according to the flesh, yet now we no longer so know Him. So whoever is in Christ is a new creation. The old things have passed. Behold, new things have come. Of course, always remembering to live in God's beautiful new creation is easier said than done, especially in the midst of suffering, when it's hard enough to stay connected to God, let alone develop a more intimate relationship with Him. Yet that's what our faith calls us to do. During our darkest moments, we're drowning in our despair. We're struggling to save our lives and our sanity, and we can't or don't know how to pull ourselves out of the darkness to be able to reach out to God or anyone else. And we feel that God and the entire world have abandoned us, even though we know that God is always with us. In today's gospel, Jesus reminds us that all you have to do is find the God zone of the present moment, where you're safe and you're in sync with God. And the closer you get to Him, the more the darkness melts away, at least some of it. And you still struggle to hold on to God's love, and you're comforted by the warmth of His love, because now you can feel it like never before, because now you're vulnerable with Him like never before. And you feel this warmth like a soft, long-lasting hug from someone you haven't seen in a long time, a hug you'll remember for as long as you live. And you realize you don't have to see anything to believe it. The most real, the deepest, most powerful realities are those we never see, like love, trust, and respect. The strength of our relationships with each other and with God is boundless. When we don't harness that supernatural strength, we miss out on the infinite possibilities of deepening our relationships with each other and with God. Now listen to today's gospel. On that day, as evening drew near, Jesus said to His disciples, "Let us cross to the other side." Leaving the crowd, they took Jesus with them in the boat, just as He was, and other boats were with Him. A violent squall came up, and the waves were breaking over the boat so that it was already filling up. Jesus was in the stern, asleep on a cushion. They woke Him and said to Him, "Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing?" He woke up and rebuked the wind and said to the sea, "Quiet, be still." The wind ceased, and there was great calm. Then He asked them, "Why are you terrified? Do you not yet have faith?" They were filled with great awe and said to one another, "Whom then is this, that even the wind and the sea obey?" In closing, I would like to read a Job-like poem that I wrote a long time ago. Like Job, I'm not only questioning God, but I have a suggestion for him, and you'll also hear God's answer. It's from my book, A Rape Survivor's Spiritual Journey, my poems and practical exercises. The poem's titled Redemptive Suffering. Are you kidding me? Who am I? The Virgin Mary? Well, my name's Mary and I'm no virgin, but then you already knew that. Tell me why. Why is there suffering at all? I know we're all suffering unless we're physically dead, so why not kill us all and let the world end? I'll give you your answer, but first answer me. Why do people hate, kill, and maim? Why do they torture, prolonging the pain? Why do they cheat, steal, and lie? Why do they want a bigger piece of the pie? Why can't they be happy with all they've got? Why can't those that have help all the have-nots? Don't get me wrong, it's okay to want more, but it's certainly not right just to hoard. Then there are talents. I gave everyone some. To some I gave more, others only have one. How many people do you know, tell me now, that have found and really used the talents they have? How many have done so and are eternally glad to go to work every day and get paid for what they feel is essentially play? You know the answer, of course, I do too, because so many come to me unhappy like you. So tell me why. Why is there suffering at all? You know you're all suffering unless you're physically dead. So why aren't you doing something about it before the world ends? God bless you. And be sure to take care of God's precious gift, you.